except that one can naively use influences and other structures as starting points.
Have you ever used any other sort of influences in the past in the same manner?
Previous to the third album, you mean?
Previous to the idea of introducing African rhythms and whatnot.
Well, I think I'd have to look back, but I could probably point to things that were influenced by other stuff. But I think my own philosophy with taking ideas from other sources is that it happens all the time. No music is pure. The majority of it is sort of stolen ideas, if you like, and it's the way in which one filters those ideas that is important. Eliot had a nice way of summing it up for poetry. He said a bad poet borrows, a good poet steals. And I think that's the right attitude, that everything, including my own stuff, should be public property in a sense, and that if people want to use sounds and rhythms that they hear on my record, then that's fine. And I expect to be able to raid things that really excite me. And it's what you do with them and how you approach them that I think becomes then interesting in the stolen property market.
You mentioned listening to the Talking Heads there. I was wondering, have you been keeping up with the other, say, contemporaries who are also into this sort of African thing as of late? And how would you evaluate some of these artists?
Throw me a name and I'll...
Well, for example, on the WOMAD album, I guess...
On the WOMAD record?
Yeah, the WOMAD record. There were a few white Western artists who I believe all had one thing in common, in that they were using that sort of African musical element.
Yeah, not just African, but non-European. Yeah, well, they wouldn't have been on the record if we didn't like them.
I reckon, yeah.
I think, I know, like, some critics very carefully judged and evaluated everyone's attitudes, like different artists, track by track, on a scale of who was doing it with what percentage integrity and what percentage rip-off. And, I think in all forms of art, that's real waste of time and bullshit. I think, people should be plundering things that turn them on without any self-consciousness.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, because I think there have been several people who probably pointed the finger at you and Talking Heads and accused you of rather blindly just taking in the African rhythms without actually evaluating the feeling behind the music and what is really there, and just taking it on a surface basis.
Oh, but you see, say in the 20s, Picasso came across African masks, and what came out of it was Cubism. In other words, that because he comes from a different culture. Sorry, can you just hold on a moment? I'll just sort of answer the other line.
Okay.
It won't be long.
All right.
Hi.
No problem.
Yeah. You're
talking about
yeah,
Picasso?
That's right. That from even, it doesn't matter if they get it wrong. If I get it wrong or anyone else, it's superficial, naive. The only thing that counts is the evaluation of the end product. So if it either works or it doesn't. And, I think the whole punk thing in England was an attempt by various English musicians to ape what they thought was happening in America with New York Dolls and all these people. And they got it wrong. And they didn't get to the heart of the music. But what they in fact ended up with was something that worked on its own terms. If you could play me one piece of music that was free of rip-off, I would be very surprised.
Well, I think I tend to agree with you. What would you think of the idea of Shock the Monkey being Motownish? Somebody mentioned that here today.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. That I looked into Motown rhythms to steal, along with anything else. And because I think they're great, really good dance rhythms. And, some of the Motown singers and all the rest were definitely influences on my early singing.
It's interesting. A lot of artists I talk to, the bigger they get, the less they tend to listen to other music, other sources. It sounds like you're a very aggressive listener of music, though.
Well, actually, I'm not especially, but there's just certain periods. I don't listen to records a whole lot, but when for instance, it's normally talk programs I listen to on the radio. But if I'm actually doing it as part of the work, then I'll sort of scour around the folk record shops and or listen to old Motown rhythms, whatever it is.
Just out of curiosity, what sort of talk things do you listen to on the radio?
Well, they have this Radio 4 program over here, which is what goes on in the morning, and so it's either sort of chat shows, review shows, The Archers, which is a serial of West Country agricultural folk. So it's a bit of radio drama. It's a few points less numbing than the pop radio, which I'll only listen to certain programs if I listen at all.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm not that up on the charts around the world, but do you get around the world very much? Is your popularity rather widespread? It goes up and down, and I think Europe has always been the best area for me. And America, just this last time, was very good. So I don't know. I know Japan has always been very weak, and Australia, I think that there's a bit more interest now, but I think I probably have some of the worst record sales in Japan than most other countries. Why do you think your music would go over bigger in, say, Europe than in America or Japan? If you were to wager, I guess.
I think it's partly where you put the work effort, really. I don't think. Well, actually, there is. It's in America. A lot of people think it's pretty weird. I think that's changing a bit anyway, and although a lot of the new music that is getting through in America, I wouldn't call particularly innovative.